The Speaker of the House, Joe Martin.
Donnie, who would be next? No, Rosalie. Someone else. Jonathan.
I played video games in a drunken haze. I was 17 years young.
I gotta be honest with you, I didn't sit here and write a real intro for this one like I normally do for some of these, because along the way, as I was writing this, I started to come to the conclusions that I wanted to make, and I think at the end of it, I'm really better at saying what I would want to say at the beginning but was unable to. So let's just start this movie up. We start up in a gorgeous neighborhood of a long-forgotten era when people didn't tailgate, you waved at your neighbors, the air was sweet and fresh, and the problems of the youth just weren't as serious as they are today.
I'd put up with Fitzgibbons if I could sit next to Marilyn McCauley.
You sat next to her in civics last year. All you did was drool.
Now, Jonathan, one of our main characters, and his buddy are out in his dad's car when they spot the girl he has a crush on. And blinded by her beauty, he makes an ass of himself.
We're dead, man.
Adding insult to injury, she comes over and dances in the water and kind of teases them.
The water feels so good.
Later at home, wait a minute, I gotta show you this one bit right here because it's just hilarious.
1001. 1002.
Now he meets the new kid, Gene, who's moved in next door. A loud, rowdy, raucous, leather jacket wearing, motorcycle driving greaser, and is enamored by his cool factor. Now, heading down to meet him in person, the differences in their lifestyle is pretty clear.
Hand me that Allen wrench, please.
Now look, when you're the new kid in town, you obviously got to get the scoop on things from somebody, and so this is like the only kid he knows, so instead of really bullying him, he actually attempts to become friends with him.
Got any wheels?
I mean, he doesn't know anyone else around here. I wonder why this kid had to move anyway.
See, I gotta stay out of trouble.
Well, there you go. It's your typical story. He's in trouble, move somewhere new, try not to get in trouble.
Fuck two girls.
Now, he takes him to the carnival later that night, where at a kissing booth, things don't go too well for Jonathan as he's forced to watch Gene make out with a girl he loves. At least he has good intentions.
That kiss was 3 times longer than it should have been.
Look, I can't hurt the girl's feelings.
Now, taking him as a project of sorts, Gene aims to turn him into a cool guy and get some action with Marilyn as well. Life goals.
See, I gotta stay out of trouble. The helping you would be kind of a challenge. You know, a charity job.
He also tries to instill some courage in him in 2 silly gags later. One where he gets a boner in class.
Put the books down, Jonathan.
And the other where he crashes his bike in front of Marilyn.
Are you okay?
He manages to get a little hand action. And she does not seem to mind.
Why did you do that?
I'm sorry. I couldn't see what I was doing.
Now around here, Gene is getting closer with Kenny's girlfriend Bunny, which I knew was going to happen sooner or later based on that look they shared when they first met. And then Marilyn comes in hitting on Gene as well, which really upsets Jonathan.
You seen Rebel Without a Cause?
Twice.
Want to go again?
Now when the two end up at a drive-in movie on opposite dates with the person they want to be with, Kenny spots them and trouble breaks out.
Hey, you going somewhere?
Hey, Eugene. Leave him alone, asshole. He didn't take her out. I did.
Facing off in a game of chicken, both of the boys try to show how big their balls are, as well as how small their brains are, when they each hold out longer than the other one expects and both wreck their cars. Now, Gene ends up grounded after his father beats the hell out of him in front of all the other kids, and later that night, he and Jonathan sneak out after getting drunk and end up crashing the bike when a cop ends up on their tail.
Oh, shit!
I honestly wouldn't have thought he knew how to ride a bike.
I'd run you in myself, except I don't like snitches. Tell you what, boys, pick up your bike and walk it home.
Now, after the chill cop lets them off with a warning, Gene divulges a good bit of his story to Jonathan and us.
When my mom died, he crawled into the shell. He just couldn't deal with it.
His mother passed away recently, and his father is unable to cope with this and has basically just become a complete asshole. Now, even though this movie has been and will continue to be kind of slow, I actually like that about it, because the one thing I often complain about is how little time movies nowadays give to meaningful character development through the simple art of conversation. This movie does spend a fair amount of time devoted to just the characters having simple dialogue back and forth, making jokes at each other's expense, or just talking about their experiences, and you actually start to feel something for them, but it's just a little bit slow at times. If anything, maybe there's too much of those scenes, or the ones there are go on too long and could have been shortened here or there for a more comfortable pace overall. Now that's a very minor complaint, but the only reason I'm mentioning it is we're like 45 minutes into this movie and I still don't feel some epic culmination coming our way. Nothing's even really been set up that I'm waiting to see how it's going to get resolved. I kind of feel like I'm just being carried along through a mediocre book put to a movie with too many pages. I didn't want to put it down though, so that's something. Now by now, the love situation is a complete shit show. Jonathan loves Marilyn, who is in love with Jean, who is kinda dating Bunny and pissing off Kenny. And at this point, neither of the two girls really seem that interested in Jonathan. Now, feeling like the bet they made on getting Jonathan laid is a complete bust, and with nothing to lose, he calls Marilyn and asks her out on a date, which she actually accepts.
Yes, I'm in the game.
She said yes?
You kind of see my issue here, however small. Just fucking pick a girl and stick with it. Like, I feel like I'm watching that 70s show.
Oh, good God. You kids switch partners more than square dancers.
Now, as Bunny begins to spend more time with Jean, Kenny notices, but if anything, seems too afraid of him at this point to even say much. Now, Jonathan continues to have some luck with Marilyn, and things seem to be on a fairy tale ending for both boys as far as I know. Where's the mischief? Like I said, I like it. There's just not a lot of tension so far. 45 minutes in. No joke, the next 10 or so minutes are spent on the kids' dates, where we get even more montages of them dating. There wasn't a lot to do in those days, it looks like. Ride horses and make out, apparently. Jonathan gets a little braver here, a bit more grabby.
Marilyn, it's been 17 years. Come on.
Now, even though it makes Marilyn pretty upset at the time, her response after the date says otherwise.
My parents are going away this weekend.
Now, they have another date the next coming weekend where Jonathan finally gets the opportunity to get some action. Only he stupidly forgets the condoms.
I could put it in just a little bit and then get out before anything happens.
Oh boy.
You went all the way, didn't you?
Knew it. So Dad comes home before the two can finish arguing about this, and Jonathan escapes out the window. Almost scot-free. Well, still better than what happened in Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Oh! Hold him down, baby! Let Mama have him!
There's a scene later in the gymnasium where the kids are all getting their polio shots. Yeah, that's how freaking old this movie is. Polio shots! Hell, polio is all but wiped out at this point, so much so that it really only seems to be a threat nowadays from some rare mutated strain from a 2016 vaccine. Don't tell that to the anti-vaxxers. Hell, it's almost completely eradicated in the wild. I got curious and looked it up. Sometimes you just do shit like that, you know? Now, I got off point here. All I really wanted to say was that it's funny how Gene takes the shot like a man, but when he passes by Jonathan in line, he acts like his arm is killing him just to frighten him. Perfect example there of showing us the character and not telling us. And sometime later, Gene is climbing up Bunny's window lattice. If anybody watching this was of age, like, did you guys really do that, or was it just a movie thing? Well, Kenny comes over at the same time, but doesn't see him, and Gene, angry about this, leaves, throwing to the ground the flower that he had brought with him. And he hardly wants to hear Bunny's excuse the next day.
Look, why make an issue of it now? It's only gonna hurt their feelings.
Let's not upset poor old Mom and Dad.
Don't be unreasonable, Gene.
He's also rightfully tired of sneaking around and trying to hide their relationship. So Jonathan and Marilyn seem to have worked things out by now, and finally, we start to get some real drama when Kenny and his henchmen pull up to Gene's gas station and order him around like a lower-class citizen.
Could you speed it up a little?
You missed a spot.
Oh man, I bet he ain't gonna take that shit standing.
That'll be $1.
What? You let me down there, movie. Am I expecting too much out of you? Maybe it was okay to just have a coming-of-age story without violence around every corner. Am I really just some kind of monster who loves anger and fist fights, blood and sweat and curse words and nudity and death and destruction? Probably. But you know, maybe it's okay to have some class and dignity and be the bigger man sometimes. Oh, fuck yeah, kick his ass, Gene. Now, when his two goons jump in, so does Jonathan, as an all-out brawl takes place, destroying half of the diner in the process.
I know who you are. You started this, and you're gonna pay for all of this.
Gene's dad, who is already an asshole, is royally pissed about this because he's probably going to have to be the one to pay for this, and in anger, he kicks Gene out of the house.
You be gone by the time I get back.
Man, it's nice to have some drama coming in finally, but damn, it does feel a little rushed somehow. And the mood is completely soured all around now that Gene is missing, as all Jonathan and Bunny can do is worry. Jonathan's social status is also taking a hit, and Marilyn comes in not only suddenly talking some shit about Gene,
Yeah, well, maybe he's a little embarrassed to show his face.
but asks Jonathan if she can cancel their prom date so she can go with some other football jackass who, graduated last year, but he only comes into town every once in a while, and she thinks he'll understand. A total bitch move.
First of all, I seem to recall we had a really lousy football team last year. Burn! Second, you can do whatever you want about the prom.
That is a burn!
And third, you and Jerry quarterback Yeager can go fuck yourselves.
Burn! You just lost, lady! Burn!
I hope she ain't pregnant. Oh god, I hope that's not some lame surprise ending, because trust me, I'm not gonna be surprised. Later on prom night, as Jonathan is brooding around the malt shop, I want to go to a malt shop. Gene walks in asking for Bunny. Now, Jonathan is thrilled to death to see him and takes him to the prom where he sees Bunny dancing with Kenny. But when Kenny spots him and comes in to talk some shit,
Back for more?
a more wise and mature Gene walks away.
You're not worth it.
When Bunny follows, Kenny tries to stop her, but also wisely relents when she insists. Now sadly, Bunny just misses Gene, who drives off on his motorcycle, and he fills Jonathan in on where he's been and what he's been doing in his absence.
So I went to Kentucky, got a job as a stable boy.
Honestly, there's a really solid scene here between the two.
She really cares for you. By morning, I'll be far away from this place.
They riff back and forth on one another, and their friendship really comes through clearly through serious dialogue, funny moments, and just simple understanding.
I guess I really don't understand women. I am never gonna look at another pair of tits as long as I live.
When Gene falls asleep, Jonathan takes his bike, picks up Bunny, and takes her to him. What a swell guy. Now after a little montage, nothing to bitch about really, the two announce their plans to run off together, and Bunny asks Jonathan to deliver the news to her father for her. Man, I really dig this scene where they hug. I'm all about that. I am a hugger, man. I got no fucking shame in hugging another dude. We're all gonna fucking die, and we don't know when, and we don't know how. And chances are, when you're dead and gone, or someone you know is, you and that other person's gonna wish that you'd wrapped your arms around them one last time and hugged them. So go fucking hug somebody right now. Not fuck and hug somebody, just fucking hug somebody. Jonathan delivers the news as asked, and
She ran off with Gene Harborough. She said not to worry, everything would be fine.
Dad's response is pretty appropriate. He heads over to the diner where Kenny gives him some more lip, and oh shit, I think this is it. This is Jonathan's breaking point. Finally. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Suddenly we're in a demolition derby right in the middle of town as the two kids recklessly crash into one another. I really don't know what to say, honestly. Eventually, Kenny crashes into a hydrant, and I'm not sure, but it must be purposeful, right? Since at the beginning of the movie, Jonathan did the same thing. It's supposed to be justice of some sort.
That was for Gene.
I mean, I want to be like, yeah, fuck yeah, but I'm just not feeling it. I don't know why. I don't hate it, but I'm not I don't feel anything. So here we are with only 6 minutes left in the film, and I haven't mentioned one thing that hasn't been too prominent throughout, but suddenly is about to be. All throughout the movie, there's been this nerdy chick with glasses and pigtails who, she's really hot underneath all that. Hell, I think she's hot with it. I got a thing for chicks with glasses. Now, her name is Rosaline, and she's a friend of both Bunny and Marilyn, but no one has really expressed much romantic interest in her, and you know where this is going. Like the new badass he is, he parks that clunker right in the middle of the street when he spots her walking and asks her out.
How about you and me seeing a movie Saturday night?
What makes you think I'd want to go to a movie with you?
Man, I told you she was beautiful.
I'm just kidding. I'd love to, Jonathan.
Great.
Yeah, we got just enough time for a joke to end on a wholesome note.
Maybe we could use your car.
Yeah.
That, my friends, is Mischief. I'm up and down about this movie. Like I said, I don't know, maybe it's okay to just have a straight up kind of innocent coming of age story. I think I expect violence around every corner. You know, maybe movies like, I'm gonna say it, you know what I'm gonna say already, don't you? Say it with me. Class of 1984. Movies like that have set a standard for me that like nothing can seem to live up to, and they don't have to. So here I am watching this movie for probably the third time, and I don't know, I can't get it out of my head. I can't quite find something in it that I think is just super duper wonderful, amazing, and I want to tell you all about it, but I also can't find something in it that I can tell you clearly makes it a bad movie. You know, I think this movie is good. I think it just could have deserved a little better cut, and I don't know, some of the jokes could have been left out as well. There was a line that didn't get crossed, but it got towed between drama and comedy, and a lot of times that works, but because of how long this one was, and they didn't bounce back and forth between the two as well as I think it could have. It felt like too serious for this amount of time, and then suddenly we get about this much comedy, and then we're going to get this much seriousness. So pacing fell off in this, but I still like the damn movie. And the thing is, I would watch this again. I would watch this again to figure out what the hell I'm missing about it, or maybe there's things I didn't see the first time, because, you know, when you start watching something for a long period of time, your eyes get tired if you're not really into it and excited on the edge of your seat. So maybe through a little bit of boredom here or there, I just missed things that would have been really important had I not been so sleepy and lazy about it. So overall, I recommend this. I recommend this because maybe you don't need a violent movie all the time. Maybe that's the message, you know? And maybe that's why it's not quite as voted up as high as some of these other ones, because it never feels like it has a real climax or resolution to a real problem. It never feels like Jonathan was that bullied to begin with, and that Gene made too big of a difference in his life. Now, he certainly did, but I don't know. Maybe that's good, though. Maybe this was the most realistic movie of that kind, and maybe that's why I have trouble accepting it as such, because I like a little bit of exaggerated reality or something like that. I don't know. But like I said, the fact that I'm still talking about the damn thing, I like it the more and more I think about it, so hell, I like it. I really like it. Fuck.